Have you ever been left wondering why the person who felt like your soul's mirror suddenly ran from you, disappeared, shut down, or rejected the connection without warning? You were sure they felt it too, that deep, magnetic bond that defied explanation. And yet they walked away. This silence, this distance, this ache, it leaves you questioning everything. Was it real? Do they even care? Are they hurting too? You're not alone. This is the silent agony so many twin flames experience, trapped in a love that feels both destined and impossible. In today's video, we're diving deep into the hidden emotional world of the twin flame runner. We'll uncover what they truly feel after walking away, what they can't express, what they suppress, and the soul-level reasons behind their withdrawal. You'll understand the unspoken turmoil that often simmers beneath their silence, the confusion, the longing, the fear, and the spiritual pressure they don't yet know how to handle. This isn't about excuses, it's about truth, the kind that sets you free and opens your heart to a deeper level of compassion and clarity. By the end of this video, you won't just understand your twin flame's behavior, you'll feel it in your bones. You'll see their running not as rejection, but as a reflection of their internal war. You'll recognize the divine orchestration at play in your separation and start to release the self-blame, the doubt, and the heartbreak. This shift in awareness will empower you to rise into your own healing, your own purpose, and your own light, no longer chasing, but aligning with the love you both carry. So stay with us until the very end. This is not just information, it's illumination. And if this journey has ever left you feeling confused, abandoned, or heartbroken, today's message will speak directly to your soul. Watch closely, reflect deeply, and if you're ready to open a door to understanding, to compassion, and maybe even to reunion, this video is where it begins. Part 1. The emotional storm within the runner. To truly understand the runner in a twin flame dynamic, we must go beyond surface-level perceptions and peer into the emotional whirlwind they silently endure. On the outside, the runner may appear emotionally detached, withdrawn, or even indifferent. They may seem to pull away without reason, retreating into silence or vanishing when the connection feels most intense. But this apparent coldness is not a sign of apathy or rejection. It's the armor they wear to survive an inner storm that few can comprehend. The act of running from a twin flame connection is not rooted in cruelty. It is born from fear, inner chaos, and the sudden confrontation with wounds long buried. At their core, runners are not void of love. They are overflowing with it. But it is precisely this depth of feeling that terrifies them. The connection with their twin flame awakens a part of their soul that has been asleep for lifetimes. It doesn't just stir emotions, it shakes the very foundation of their identity. When twin flames meet, there is often an undeniable energetic recognition, a soul-level remembrance that sparks like lightning between them. For some, this spark ignites a sense of coming home, but for the runner, this encounter triggers a profound discomfort. The love feels too powerful, too pure, and too exposing. It threatens the ego's grip on who they believe they are. In the presence of their divine counterpart, all masks begin to fall away. The walls they've built around their heart, sometimes for decades, crumble in an instant. This sudden vulnerability doesn't feel liberating at first. It feels terrifying. The runner experiences a deep sense of emotional exposure, as if every hidden wound, every suppressed memory, and every unhealed trauma has been brought into the light. Their natural instinct is to run, not because they don't care, but because they care so deeply that the intensity becomes unbearable. The sacred bond challenges everything they thought was safe or predictable about love. For the runner, this connection defies logic. It doesn't follow the familiar rhythms of ordinary relationships. It transcends time, space, and understanding, and that very transcendence can feel destabilizing. They often describe the experience as losing control, as if their sense of self is dissolving in the presence of this sacred mirror. And so they run, not to abandon their twin flame, but to preserve the pieces of themselves they fear will be shattered by such profound love. In truth, the runner's journey is not one of escape, but of survival. They are not rejecting their twin flame. They are rejecting the parts of themselves they have not yet learned to love. And until they can face those shadows, the connection remains too overwhelming to fully embrace. Beneath the silence and distance lies a heart in turmoil, a soul crying out for healing, and a love that is deeper than words could ever express. Before we move on, take a moment to pause and reflect. Have you ever found yourself on the receiving end of this kind of silence, confused by distance, yet sensing a love that never truly left? Or perhaps you've been the one who ran, overwhelmed by emotions too big to hold. This journey is not easy, and your story matters. If any part of this resonates with your soul, we invite you to share your experience in the comments. Whether it's a memory, a realization, or simply a feeling you can't quite name, your voice could help someone else feel seen. Or, if you're not ready to share your story just yet, simply type, "Behind the silence, love still lives." Let this be your affirmation, your truth, your reminder that even in the distance, the bond remains. Part 2. The fear of losing oneself. One of the most profound and paralyzing fears within the twin flame runner is the fear of losing their sense of identity. While on the surface they may appear distant or even indifferent, the truth runs far deeper. The twin flame connection is not just a romantic or emotional experience, it is a mirror of the soul. And like any true mirror, it does not selectively reflect only the light. It shows everything, both the beauty and brilliance, and the buried pain, unhealed wounds, hidden insecurities, and shadow aspects that one has spent a lifetime avoiding. For someone who has spent years, sometimes even decades, building an identity based on societal expectations, survival strategies, and emotional protection, this reflection can be deeply destabilizing. The runner often clings to the false self they've carefully constructed, the mask that made them feel safe in a chaotic world. But when they come face to face with their divine counterpart, that mask begins to crack. The love they feel isn't light and easy. It's raw, powerful, and soul-penetrating. It threatens the illusion of control. It exposes every corner of the psyche that has been hidden or denied. And this exposure can feel suffocating. To the runner, being seen so completely, without filter, without pretense, is not comforting. It is terrifying. The love they feel threatens to overwhelm their emotional boundaries. The connection seems too vast, too consuming, too impossible to contain within the structures they've built around their life. And so, instinctively, they pull away. They retreat, not because they don't feel, but because they feel too much. They fear that surrendering to the connection means surrendering their independence, their identity, and ultimately, their very self. Ironically, the twin flame connection does not come to erase who they are. It comes to reveal who they truly are. It doesn't destroy identity, it transforms it. It peels away the false layers, the outdated patterns, and the egoic stories that no longer serve, in order to bring the soul into alignment with its higher truth. But for the runner, this feels like a kind of death, a sacred but terrifying undoing. It's a death of the known, the comfortable, the manageable, and the unfamiliarity of what lies on the other side becomes too much to bear. This is why the runner often rejects the connection. It's not about rejecting the twin flame as a person, it's about rejecting the parts of themselves that they are not yet ready to meet. The connection shines too bright a light on the shadows they've kept buried. In pulling away, They are not fleeing love. They are fleeing their own transformation. So, if you've ever wondered why they ran, why they left just when things felt most magical, understand this. Their silence is not emptiness, and their distance is not absence of love. It is fear, a fear of losing everything they thought they were before they're ready to become who they truly are. Part 3. Old wounds, new light. Beneath the runner's silence and retreat lies a tender truth, one rooted not in rejection of the twin flame, but in old wounds that have never fully healed. The meeting with their twin flame does more than ignite passion or deep soul recognition. It acts as a catalyst, a spiritual spotlight that pierces through the emotional armor and reveals what has long been buried beneath the surface. Past traumas, fear of abandonment, and a deep-seated belief in being unworthy of love all rise to the surface, raw and unfiltered. The runner may not understand what's happening. Their first instinct is often confusion, followed by inner resistance. The love they feel is undeniable, yet it threatens everything they've come to believe about relationships and about themselves. Thoughts like, "Why would someone like this love someone like me?" begin to echo in their mind, not out of arrogance, but from a place of deep insecurity. Their past may have told them they're too broken to be loved, too flawed to be chosen, too damaged to be truly seen. And now, standing in front of their divine counterpart, that old belief is being challenged in the most painful and beautiful way. This is where the paradox begins. The more powerful the love, the more exposed they feel. The more healing the connection offers, the more unbearable it becomes to face. The twin flame doesn't cause these wounds, they only reveal them. Their presence, their unconditional love, shines like a bright light on the dark corners the runner had long hidden from view. And in that light, shame, fear, and self-doubt are no longer avoidable. The runner begins to feel like they are being seen naked, emotionally, spiritually, even energetically. And for someone who's survived by keeping those wounds hidden, such exposure feels like a threat, not a blessing. In response, the runner often chooses to flee, not from the twin flame, but from the pain that connection stirs. But here's the heart-wrenching truth. Running doesn't heal the wound. In fact, it often deepens it. Many runners report that after separation, the pain becomes more intense. The longing becomes more profound. They feel the loss of their twin flame not just as a breakup, but as a soul-level absence, as though a part of themselves has been severed. And yet, despite this ache, many still feel paralyzed, unable to return. They are caught in a silent war between the desire to be held and the fear of being seen. At the center of it all lies vulnerability. To return, to reconnect, to surrender to love, the runner would have to do something they've perhaps never done before: open completely, to show their wounds without flinching, to be witnessed in their deepest fears and still be loved. And to the runner, this level of exposure feels like stepping onto a battlefield with no armor, no weapons, nothing but a trembling heart. It's terrifying, but it is also the only path to true healing. The light of the twin flame does not judge, it heals. But before healing can happen, it must reveal. And for the runner, learning to stand in that light without retreating is the greatest spiritual initiation of all. If you've made it this far, it means you're not just watching. You're feeling this journey in your soul. Take a moment to breathe and reflect. Have you ever seen yourself in the eyes of a runner, or perhaps recognized these wounds in someone you love? You are not alone in this experience. Your story, your voice, your heart matters here. We invite you to share your experience in the comments, whether it's something you've felt, something you've realized, or simply a moment of recognition. Or, if you're not ready to share your full story yet, just type this affirmation to anchor your truth. I am ready to heal, even if I'm still afraid. Your presence here is part of the healing, and by showing up, you've already begun the transformation. Part 4. The contradiction of deep love, a heart that runs because it feels too much. One of the most profoundly misunderstood elements of the twin flame runners' experience is not their detachment, but the staggering depth of their love. It's a truth that often escapes the surface. Rejection does not mean the absence of feeling. In fact, more often than not, the runner's love for their divine counterpart is so deep, so all-encompassing, that it shakes them to their core. It's not the love itself they fear, but what it demands of them. It asks for vulnerability, surrender, and a level of truth they may not be ready to face. This love is raw and unfiltered, shining a light on all their hidden wounds. The runner, often emotionally unequipped to deal with the sheer magnitude of this soul bond, may not know how to express such love. Without the language or tools to navigate it, they do what feels safest: suppress it. They bury their feelings, hoping the silence will bring clarity or safety. But behind that silence is a storm, a fear that they're not enough, a fear that they will ruin something so pure, a fear that their chaos will bleed into the life of the one they cherish most. Their behavior may appear heartless, disappearing without warning, shutting down emotionally, cutting off communication. But these actions are not born from indifference. Quite the opposite. Beneath the runner's cold exterior lies a soul that aches to be held, a heart that longs for the very connection it keeps pushing away. The runner's paradox is this: they push away what they most desire, not because they don't care, but because they care too much and feel incapable of being worthy of it. Many runners carry immense guilt and shame for their actions. Even while they deny or avoid the connection, something inside them whispers the truth. They know this bond is sacred. They know this is no ordinary love. But deeply rooted patterns of self-sabotage, built over years of emotional conditioning, convince them they are undeserving of divine love. These beliefs keep them trapped in cycles of withdrawal and denial. Yet, as time passes and inner work begins, the fog starts to lift. Through soul-searching, healing, and painful transformation, the runner slowly comes to understand. No matter how far they flee, the connection doesn't fade. It follows them, not to torment, but to guide them back to wholeness. Because the love they tried to outrun was never a threat. It was a mirror, reflecting who they truly are beneath the fear. And in time, they may return, not as the runner, but as someone who has finally recognized that they were never unworthy, only afraid. Imagine a man named Daniel who meets a woman that instantly feels like home. From the very first moment, something inside him shifts, an overwhelming sense of familiarity, as if his soul has known her for lifetimes. But instead of leaning into the connection, Daniel pulls away. He tells her he's not ready, that he's confused, that the timing is wrong. Outwardly, it seems like he's indifferent or emotionally unavailable. But in truth, Daniel is terrified. He sees in her eyes a reflection of his deepest fears and longings. Her presence awakens parts of him he has kept hidden, even from himself. He fears he will ruin her light with his unresolved pain. So he walks away, hoping to protect her from the chaos within him. Yet every time he hears her name or passes a place they once went together, his heart tightens. He feels her energy in moments of stillness, in his dreams, in the quiet longing that follows him everywhere. It takes years of self-reflection, heartbreak, and inner healing before Daniel realizes that his running wasn't a sign of apathy. It was a cry for help. He didn't run because he didn't love her. He ran because he loved her so much, he couldn't bear the thought of breaking something so sacred. And only by facing himself did he finally understand that true love doesn't demand perfection. It asks for presence. Part 5. The gift hidden in separation and the sacred invitation to grow. The twin flame journey does not move in straight lines. It is not a simple path from meeting to union. Rather, it is a sacred spiraling labyrinth designed to awaken, challenge, and evolve both souls in the most profound way. When the runner chooses to withdraw, it often feels like abandonment. The silence can echo louder than words, and the distance can sting like betrayal. But beneath that painful pause lies a deeper purpose. The runner's retreat is not an escape from love. It is an invitation into self-discovery. In the quiet of separation, the runner is given space to unravel the layers of their identity. This is where the healing begins. Free from the overwhelming intensity of the connection, they are faced with their own shadows, unhealed wounds, limiting beliefs, fears of intimacy, and feelings of unworthiness. They are called to confront the very parts of themselves that they once buried. This solitude, though often misunderstood, becomes sacred. It becomes the ground upon which they can remember who they truly are and begin to align with their soul's higher calling. But this phase of the journey is not only for the runner. For the chaser, the one left yearning, questioning, waiting, there is also a divine task. It is easy to interpret rejection as a reflection of inadequacy, to internalize the runner's departure as a sign that we are not enough. Yet that could not be further from the truth. Separation is not a punishment, it is preparation. The universe is orchestrating a period of transformation for both souls, and the chaser is just as much a part of that sacred alchemy. The true calling for the chaser in this season is to turn inward, not to chase the other, but to chase their own wholeness, to cultivate patience, to sit with discomfort, to surrender to divine timing, and to trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it must. Through this process, the chaser learns the art of self-love, of boundaries, of letting go without closing the heart. In doing so, they too rise into alignment with their higher self. Every moment spent apart is not wasted. Every tear shed, every question asked, every prayer whispered in the stillness, it all serves a higher purpose. Separation is the crucible in which both souls are refined. It softens the rough edges, clears away illusions, and makes space for the kind of love that is not just passionate, but awakened, conscious, and divine. Union will come, but only when both souls are truly ready to meet each other, not from a place of need, but from a place of fullness. So if you find yourself in this phase of distance, do not despair. You are not being punished. You are being prepared for the deepest love your soul has ever known. In the end, the twin flame journey is not about waiting in pain or longing for someone else to fulfill your soul. It is about awakening into the truth of who you are. It is about shedding illusions, facing your shadows, and rising into the light of your own divinity. This sacred connection is not meant to complete you, but to ignite you. Whether your twin flame stands beside you or walks their own path for a time, the love between you is never absent. It exists beyond space, beyond time, and even beyond understanding. The runner doesn't run from you. They run from the reflection of their own unhealed wounds, from the intensity of a love that demands growth. But know this: when they do the inner work, when they face themselves and awaken to their soul, they return, not as the person who left, but as the soul who is finally ready to meet you at the highest vibration. And you too are transforming. You are not waiting, you are becoming. This is not a passive journey. It is a sacred evolution, and every moment of solitude, heartbreak, or uncertainty is part of your divine preparation. The twin flame path is not easy, but it is holy. It teaches you that real love is not about control or grasping, but about surrendering to something far greater. It is not about fixing the other, but becoming so whole that your love becomes a beacon. And that is the miracle. When you choose to heal, to rise, and to shine, you don't just awaken yourself, you awaken the very soul that was destined to meet you. So if this message stirred something deep within you, we invite you to type this sacred affirmation in the comments: I am becoming, and so are they. Let these words echo through the collective. Let your voice rise in alignment with those on this journey beside you. And if this message resonated with your heart, please like this video, share it with someone walking the same path, and make sure to watch the next video waiting below. It may be the very message your soul needs today. You are not alone. You are loved. You are becoming. And love always finds its way home.